President Cyril Ramaphosa has his hands full in dealing with a divided ANC. On Friday, supporters of Secretary General Ace Magashule protested outside the court where he appeared for his corruption case. Some even burnt T-shirts with the president's face outside the Bloemfontein court. Well, Sibongile Besani is the head of the presidency in the ANC. He joins us now from his hometown in the Free State. I believe that he joins us from Vredesfort, which is where he will be talking to us from. Mr. Besani, thank you very much for making the time to speak to us. Firstly, can I ask you about the question regarding the burning of T-shirts bearing the face of the president? How does the office of the president view that act?
Well, thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Xoli. Look, historically we have been in that space before, and the ANC has been condemning such activities, and especially where the T-shirts bearing the face of the president is being burned. And equally will not fail to do so to condemn such anarchy. We characterize it as anarchy that is unwarranted. Yeah. We characterize it as a sheer misunderstanding of the role of the president of the African National Congress. Yeah. So those who support the Secretary General of the ANC have actually been warned in advance that they need to conduct themselves in a befitting manner. So unfortunately, some chose to act in a very anarchist manner, and we condemn it outrightly. It is uncalled for.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Besani. The Secretary General of the ANC addressed that very crowd which was involved in this particular act. Did you expect him? Do you still expect him to say something about what happened there, in particular the burning of T-shirts bearing the face of the president?
You would remember that the SG indicated to officials that he would not condone anything that is un-ANC, which would be done in his name. And I want to believe that he does not condone it, and at the right time he'll be able to restate such.
I've got to challenge you on that, Mr. Besani. I'm sorry. I can't take that seriously at all, nor would the viewers of this channel view that in the same way as well, because the Secretary General of the ANC issued a statement to say, I do not want anyone to come and congregate outside court in my name. And what does he do? He goes and addresses the very people who are involved in such acts, but actually going even against his very own statement. So what do you mean when you say the Secretary General would not condone such, and you would expect him to not do anything that is anti-ANC?
No, what I'm saying is that the SG committed to the officials, if you read the statement that was issued, that he would not condone any un-ANC conduct to those who would come to support him. So secondly is that the officials issued a statement indicating that those people would be allowed to go as individuals to support the SG. So that is the point I'm making. So a commitment has been made by the SG, and historically, as the ANC, we have condemned anything that is un-ANC, especially the burning of T-shirts of which bears the face of our president.
Let me ask you this question then. Does the ANC believe that he was well within his rights to address that crowd? Should he have addressed that crowd?
The ANC never said that SG should not address people who have come to support him. I think probably it's common cause. If you are faced with this kind of a misfortune, and people come and support you, it's common cause that you will address them. So we've never said don't ban them. Actually, the ANC resolutions in this regard is that at an organizational level, the resolution at Nazareth indicates clearly that we should disassociate ourselves as an organization with anyone who faces allegations of this nature.
And can I'm going to have to pick up on that very point that you make, Mr. Besani, because that resolution, I think, was further clarified by the ANC to say any member of the party wishing to go and support a comrade who faces corruption charges at a court, they will do so in their individual capacities, and they will not go there speaking or purporting to speak for the ANC. But Tony Yengeni, who sits in the NEC, went against that very issue and said, we are here not in our individual capacities, not as friends of the Secretary General, but we are here as the ANC. Is there going to be action against people like him?
No, the officials were clear on that one, and I want to believe they will ventilate on that particular matter. The officials were very clear that people are allowed to support the SG as individuals. You see, what we decry in the main is that people cannot act contrary to resolutions of conference, to statements made by our officials and our leaders. And we decry it quite in a formidable way that those who actually went out and burned the T-shirt with the face of the president, they actually misunderstand the whole legal matter, because the president of the ANC has stated it categorically that he will not allow a situation where state institutions are used to further political battles. So there is no way that the president of the ANC, Comrade CYRIL Ramaphosa, is involved in this particular matter. We also want to state that categorically clear. But on the issue of those who contradicted the statement of officials and so on, I want to believe that this organization will have to ventilate on that.
And I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Besani. Is there going to be particular action taken against senior member of the party, Tony Yengeni, stating very clearly that he was there in his capacity as an ANC leader? He was there in his capacity as the ANC to support the Secretary General of the ANC.
No, I think I've indicated probably that it's a matter that will be ventilated. I wouldn't want to preempt what conclusion the structure will arrive at. So, because Comrade Tony Yengeni will also have to give his side of the story and so on. But it's a matter that I think it will not just be left hanging. Remember, as the ANC, we are faced with many challenges in the country. And one of the things that the presidency would like to highlight as we speak now is that there is no better battle, there is no better war than reconstructing the economy and being on the side of the poor. There is no better one. That is why in our efforts to call everyone to call for calm, we want to refocus the organization on matters that are of importance to our people.
Yeah. Mr. Besani, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask you to be slightly shorter in your responses. The City Press today is reporting about a meeting which was held in Bloemfontein by supporters of the Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, and they apparently come from various provinces all over South Africa. Are you aware, first and foremost, about that meeting? Have you been informed as ANC senior leaders of that particular meeting?
No, we only read about that also in the media. And one of the things that our members must understand, it is unprecedented that the SG of the ANC is faced with this kind of a misfortune of allegations that are related to corruption. Therefore, as ANC members, it is not upon us to dance and celebrate that. What we need to do is to make sure that, as we have agreed at Nazareth, that we renew and unite the African National Congress. President CYRIL Ramaphosa has been on record on more than several times, more than 10 times, to say the unity of this organization is sacrosanct. And therefore, members of the ANC have got to master how to unite even under very strenuous situations as these ones, than to actually deepen what may be perceived as a crisis.
Yeah.
And once again, the ANC president, Comrade CYRIL Ramaphosa, is not behind all these allegations as others have been made to believe.
Mr. Besani, the Secretary General of the ANC faces very serious charges. The President is on record as saying anyone who faces such serious charges, particularly if they actually are in front of the courts, they should step aside. Is that particular resolution going to be upheld in as far as the SG of the party is concerned?
You would remember, Xoli, that the officials made a media statement to that effect. But thereafter, what happened, the officials have also been mandated to really work out a process on how this resolution, because it's a conference resolution actually. When they were making a media statement, they were restated a conference resolution. But thereafter, it came out that that resolution needed to be processed. So officials of the ANC have been given the mandate to process, to give quite clarity on how such a resolution should be implemented. Because in the first instance, we came across issues that border on the constitutionality. Secondly, we came across issues that relate to the fact that because some of people who are being accused, who are facing these allegations, are in government, and therefore they participate in various committees, and there are requirements on how many times they should attend meetings and so on. So the officials are immersed, are dealing with that particular matter, but that is conference resolution.
Yeah.
The officials were actually articulating a conference resolution. Remember, for some time, people have been decrying the fact that conference resolutions have got to be implemented. But currently, those resolutions are being implemented, and processes are underway to ensure that they are implemented in a manner that will not disrupt governance.
Mr. Besani, finally, these members who apparently met in Bloemfontein, it's understood that they are calling for a special conference that is going to review the party's leadership. What do you make of that? Are you aware of such moves?
So the ANC cannot be called somewhere in the dark corner. There's a process on how you actually call for a special conference.
All right.
And there's a process on the role of the NGC. So the ANC will take you from its structures.
Yeah. Mr. Besani,
and that includes the NEC.
Let me interrupt you, Mr. Besani, and ask you to remain where you are, because I want to continue this conversation. Let's take a short breather. We'll be back with Mr. Besani in just a moment. Very good afternoon to you if you're just joining us, and thank you for staying with us. So we are still in conversation with Sibongile Besani. He is the head of the presidency in the ANC, and we're talking about developments which played out on Friday at the appearance of Secretary General Ace Magashule in court on corruption charges. Mr. Besani, thank you very much for agreeing to stay on. There is an argument by supporters of the Secretary General that one of the charges he faces is that of the failure to report corrupt activities that happened in the Free State whilst he was Premier of that province. That argument now is being turned to say this actually is a selective prosecution of some within the ANC. For example, the corruption and looting that has been experienced under COVID-19, it has happened under the watch of people like David Makura, who's the Premier here in Gauteng. It's happened under the watch of the President. Why are they not being charged for failing to report corruption when it happened under their noses?
Well, Oli, I'm not a legal guru. I want to believe that the legal representatives of the SD will be able to deal with that matter quite effectively, and the SD has stated himself that he's happy that he will be able to clear some of the air, especially in the courts of law. So I cannot respond to a charge sheet that is being faced, a charge sheet, because I'm not a legal rep, I'm not a legal expert. So I will leave that to those who've got relevant expertise.
All right. Well, here's a matter that could potentially be brought up as yet another failure under the presidency of CYRIL Ramaphosa. He had a working visit. He had a working visit from the president of Malawi, who has just been elected to office, by the way, in that country. And on the back of this meeting that happened this past week, Shepard Bushiri, who's facing serious charges in this country, fled South Africa. And he just left. He up and left. And this is under the watch of the President, CYRIL Ramaphosa. That's an embarrassment for the country. Surely the party, especially his office in the party, has got to have a thing or two to say about that.
Look, there's no denying that for Pastor Prophet Bushiri to flee the country has left us with an egg on our face, and many of us and many citizens are quite disappointed in that. It's quite a national embarrassment. But you'll remember that the Hawks have issued a statement yesterday to indicate that they are following it up. So there's no denying that, but we are happy that our state institutions, security institutions, are following up on the matter, and we hope that they will deal with it quite urgently, because people, even ourselves where we are, we really cannot reduce this country to a lawlessness.
For the record, the ANC, as a governing party, are you aware of any involvement, possible involvement, I should actually rephrase the question, possible involvement of President Lazarus Chakwera's visit here, and possibly any links to Bushiri then fleeing the country? He's already put out comments in the media to say he had nothing to do with that. He distances himself from that. From the ANC's part, just for the record, are you able to confirm same?
No, we're not able to do that currently. As far as I know, we can confirm that President of Malawi is linked to that. But we hope that the state institutions will be able to advise accordingly in due course, and they will publicize whatever information they have.
Final question to you, Mr. Besani, and we do thank you indeed for extending the time that you've been speaking to us. If an office bearer of the ANC were to be removed, Ace Magashule made it clear that he is not going to step aside in reference to that resolution of the party. Instead, it is the branches of the ANC that will remove him. For a special conference, of the ANC to sit, what needs to happen to determine whether or not an office bearer has got to be removed? Take us through those processes.
Look, you need a certain number of branches to actually make such a declaration. quite a substantial and a significant number of that. But as a matter of principle, it's a fact that it is constitutional that it is structures of the ANC that dictate the direction of our movement. And that takes place at platforms of the ANC like the conference. That is why the conferences of the ANC are attended by 90% of our branches. Now, resolutions that deals with corruption, resolutions that deals with any other matter, are resolutions that have been decided at conference of the ANC. And in between conferences, the NEC is authorized to take decisions. So as a matter of principle, there's nothing wrong when a person says the structures are the ones that can remove me. And the conference of the ANC is a conference constituted by branches. So decisions that deal with policies and resolutions have been taken by branches of the ANC at conference. So the NEC is authorized, is empowered to act in between those conferences.
All right, Mr. Besani, Sibongile Besani, he speaks for the office of the president at Luthuli House.